Returning to Mirage felt strange, like stepping back into a world you weren't sure you trusted anymore. But the moment Valley of Memory began, something clicked. Bordeaux seems to be one of the few Ubisoft studios that still understands what made Assassin's Creed special, and this unexpected free DLC somehow proves that even more. Mirage was always this weird little anomaly, a focused, city-driven Assassin's Creed that actually remembered its own origins. A game that wasn't ashamed of being stealth or linear, and Valley of Memory doubles down on all of it. It doesn't try to blow your mind with a giant map or some absurd RPG power fantasy. Instead, it tries something far more important. It digs into Basim's past while refining the already established gameplay, and that's where the DLC instantly hooked me. The first thing that stood out to me was Basim's new outfit. It's such a small detail, but it has a deeper meaning. He shows up wearing this darker, earth-toned clothing. The colors are muted and heavy. It's the opposite of the heroic, bright white assassin robes we're used to. His outfit almost feels weighted down. By wearing a darker outfit, Basim immediately feels different, more inward, more burdened. He isn't the confident hidden one here. He's someone being pulled back into the parts of his past he's spent years trying not to face. The outfit reflects that weight without ever needing to say it out loud, and it perfectly matches the idea of the Valley of Memory, because this entire DLC is about Basim carrying a past he hasn't fully faced. He's not going back to uncover forgotten assassin lore, he's not hunting an artifact, he's not solving some ancient conspiracy, he's walking backward into his own childhood, into the moment his father abandoned him, into the roots of his identity. And every time we see him confronted with these fragments, you can feel that deeper unspoken layer. The low-key memories, the sense of something ancient, something mysterious staring under the surface. The DLC never screams it out loud, and that's exactly why it's so good. There's something almost poetic about the title too, Basim digging into memories he buried while the father he's searching for has already lost his. Moments like this remind me that Assassin's Creed used to care about emotional storytelling, and this DLC hits closer to that spirit than anything in years. That's actually what reminded me of Assassin's Creed Revelations. That game wasn't just Ezio searching for answers, it was kind of the start of what was continued in Assassin's Creed Embers. Or basically, Ezio trying to make peace with the man he had become, a mature character shedding light on parts of himself he had avoided. Valley of Memory feels like the same thing but for Basim, a man chasing clarity, trying to understand why he is the way he is, long before the base game's ending or Valhalla transforms him into something entirely different. And that's why the timing of this DLC matters so much. These events take place before Mirage's main ending, which recontextualizes Basim in a way the main story barely had time for. If you're a new player, Valley of Memory actually hits way harder because of this. You see a more innocent Basim here than anywhere else, more human, more unsure of himself, more vulnerable. And I love that because it shows the level of character development Bordeaux is actually capable of, so you should absolutely play it before going after the final target of the base game. Moreover, what's perhaps the most important aspect of this DLC is its cutscenes. Yes, the cutscenes are properly motion captured. You feel the tension between the characters, they no longer feel robotic or disconnected. The characters are placed properly in each scene, the performances feel believable and even the voice acting lands better. Not because the actors changed, but because the direction clearly did. We also get to see more of Dervish, Basim's father figure, the person who raised him. But the rest of the characters here, they just get the job done and nothing more. They move the story forward, but nobody really stands out or leaves a mark, and that's fine. This DLC isn't trying to reinvent Basim's world with massive new personalities, and it isn't really that long either. So naturally, most of the other characters don't get the chance to leave much of an impression. But even within those limitations, a little more depth or conflict would have gone a long way. Mirage's supporting cast already leaned on the minimal side, and Valley of Memory follows the same pattern. It works, but it doesn't elevate anything. Moving on, Al-Ola itself is gorgeous, probably the strongest reminder of what AC's historical spaces can still be. It's atmospheric in a way Mirage also achieved. For instance, you can see the people talking about how their goods differ from Baghdad's, some even sounding a bit insecure about it. Or you get to learn a lot about the region's historical importance via the Codex menu. I would have appreciated way more if characters during the cutscenes somehow tied historical knowledge to the story, like explaining us the history of a certain marketplace or structure while telling us why we have to be there at the moment. But this isn't a DLC issue. This is something I generally love to see more from Assassin's Creed games in the future. But even with all of this, there's still that massive narrative gap between Mirage and Valhalla, a gap that only a full game could ever bridge. And I'm not gonna lie, after playing this DLC, I desperately want Bordeaux to get the chance to make that game. A new Basim story set in Constantinople would be everything this series needs right now. A focused, atmospheric, character-driven, intimate and intentional game. Mirage proved they can do it, and Valley of Memory proves they can go even deeper. And with proper budget, I'm certain they can deliver what we want. Now, there's still one thing that Mirage has never handled well, and Valley of Memory doesn't fix it because it's not really the DLC's responsibility, but it still bothers me. The missing modern day. Every time you open an Animus challenge or unlock a new database entry, by looking at these anomaly-looking things, the game hints at a modern-day context that you never actually see. There's an Animus user, there's a device, there's someone controlling this entire simulation. Mirage constantly teases these things, but you don't get a glimpse of any of it. And that's such a huge missed opportunity, because the modern day is the DNA that used to make Assassin's Creed unique, and no amount of battle pass-driven storytelling would ever replace it. But since Valley of Memory is free, detailed, and clearly made with care, I can forgive it. After all, this is a Mirage problem, not a DLC problem. Though I feel like I need to mention that the combat isn't fixed either. It's still the same simple system from the base game and hasn't changed a bit. But even a free update made with this much care isn't exempt from the usual corporate decisions, which is the inclusion of microtransactions in a free, story-focused update. They feel completely out of place. This is something I find highly annoying. It taints the otherwise pristine work done here. You can see why I find the whole inclusion of microtransaction in a single-player game extremely concerning in the video on the corner of your screen. But back to Mirage, what Valley of Memory does fix, however, is something I've been begging for since Origins: mission replay. The new sequence system is incredible. This is what Assassin's Creed needed. It's what Shadows desperately needs. It's what Valhalla needed on top of its missing New Game Plus mode, and it's what every post-launch update should be doing. Giving players meaningful reasons to engage with missions again, not sending them into a checklist of kill that guy, open 5 chests, grind until you pass out, and etc. This is the right direction. Actual challenges, actual tasks, dedication, and rewards tied to real gameplay, not mindless repetition or the soulless microtransaction approach. And I hope Ubisoft never forgets this again. Every AC game from here on out needs to have full mission replay. Not just main missions, every mission. This used to be a standard feature and there was never any reason to remove it. I mean, look at it. You can replay the missions, but this time have to complete these specific tasks. And once you're done, you get unique looking items. This is the way you reward your players. This is the most gamer-friendly, gameplay-driven Assassin's Creed feature any fan could ask for. Thank you, Bordeaux. Also, the gameplay in Valley of Memory has a kind of openness Mirage never leaned into this much. You choose how to approach your targets, which skills you rely on, how you want to infiltrate, how to take someone down, but it also adds small side decisions that aren't labeled as objectives. These let you shape little moments in the world. Maybe you decide whether to hand over a girl's journal to the authorities or give it back to her. Or maybe it's deciding whether to follow your contract and make a kill look like an accident, or completely ignore that and take the target out your own way. None of these change the story, but they make your choices feel more organic and grounded than picking a dialogue option in the RPG entries. The map itself in Valley of Memory is small. Not too small, but it nails something that Mirage already understood. Parkour thrives in dense, vertical, compact spaces. The new region also brings what the more recent games like Origins excelled at: natural environments with unique landmarks. There are challenges and some light platforming sections, and I love them all, especially with all the Flying Pages edition that gives Parkour challenge a better meaning. And yes, parkour itself has been improved. The manual jump is finally back over a decade, since Syndicate if you can believe it. This is a massive step forward. You can commit to jumps more intentionally, take more risks, express yourself more, and this makes the whole risk and reward thing take a completely different meaning. Although, to be perfectly honest, since the parkour system is still based on what we had in Origins, it's still clunky, and thanks to the new additions, it's prone to weird mistakes. So it's still far from the classics, but this update makes it way better than the RPGs and also proves there's something to build on. Though I still wish Basim moved with the same speed as now. Anyway, in my opinion, parkour needs to evolve into a 2-layer system again. One layer for casual players who just want to climb things and get from rooftop to rooftop, and another for people who want to push the movement system to its limits. Then they can add time trials, technical moves, advanced routes, precise inputs, and make something for both groups. It's a better choice for the future games than the whole toggle in the menu where you choose whether you want the parkour with full hand-holding or the free version. It's understandable for Mirage, but newer games should go back to that approach. And that's the thing about this DLC. Value of memory isn't huge, it isn't flashy, it isn't pretending to revolutionize Assassin's Creed. But beneath all that small improvements and all the psychological layers, it feels like a promise. A signal from Ubisoft Bordeaux that they still understand the heart of this franchise. Mirage wasn't perfect and the DLC isn't perfect either. But for the first time in a long time, I finished an Assassin's Creed experience feeling like someone inside this company still cares about what Assassin's Creed is supposed to be. And maybe that's why value of memory matters more than anyone expected. It's small, focused, and deep, and it proves that if Ubisoft ever gives Bordeaux a proper budget and their own full game, with Basim in Constantinople, it might just remind the world why this franchise ever mattered in the first place, because value of memory is a glimpse, not at nostalgia, but at what Assassin's Creed can still be when the studio focuses on the things that actually matter. Tight cinematic storytelling, gameplay built around real challenge and discovery, parkour that thrives inside a meaningful city, danger in the open world. However, beyond what the base game and its DLC managed to achieve, we still need a world where assassins and Templars actually feel like two forces colliding again. With a playable modern-day segment, characters who matter, and Isu lore treated with intention instead of fan service, Assassin's Creed could finally reclaim the identity it has slowly drifted away from. Mirage and its DLC showed flashes of this potential, even with a small budget, so I just hope the franchise follows that direction, not because of nostalgia, but because this is the version of Assassin's Creed that still has something real to say. What do you think about Mirage and Value of Memory? Do you think Ubisoft should stick to this format, or does the RPG style work better? Share your reasons down below.